slide. We used to do all apparently, several years ago. The guy that we buy it from said, you know, hey, I got something you ought to try. Sure, let's try it.
Because I think it
That's
tastes
the
better than you.
best fish I have ever tasted.
Yeah.
And I'm not a big fish guy. You know, like salmon and things like that, but that slide is just,
Buy it by the box frozen.
oh yeah.
So, the shrimp, where did that come
Cisco,
from? Somebody said it tasted it. What was it? Okay, I mean, it ran out, but,
yeah, we're gonna try to adjust that.
but you said somebody said that it tasted like breaded or something, I don't know. I have no idea. Anyway, it all turned out to be all right. And how do you know from one time to the next?
So,
Well, you definitely didn't walk away from there hungry.
No,
That's
that
good.
was- That was good. Did you see where Scott's talking passed away?
but
Scott's talking passed away? They told me a week or so downstairs.
Where's Don?
morning.
Scott, is everybody good?
Last week. And then my sister, and I took my sister, she would see her. I have no idea.
That's good.
Yeah, so anyway, must have been. Nothing to do or whatever, I don't know.
By the way, you guys saw the registration's open for the Kansas Commissioners Convention Conference.
Yeah, yeah.
That's on the KAC website.
So how's Todd doing?
Pretty good, how about y'all?
I'm doing great.
Good.
Never better.
Got your Jayhawk going?
You betcha.
Alright. There's a couple of wins and we're back in touch.
See what happens.
From Friday morning. Not a win. It's supposed to be 70s though all week, I think.
Yeah.
Be perfect.
You what?
I said it'll probably turn cold next week when it's spring.
Tell the spring break is
It's next week.
Yeah, how do you walk in, how do they walk in now?
The office person that keeps track of the credits into the system. Can we have ourselves now?
You know, the system called, 9 o'clock plus, so it's going to be, okay. Thank you.
Nope. Is it okay if Kate comes down? Yep.
All right, I've got 9 o'clock, the local meeting. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We have a emergency vehicle application here for lights and siren, in case anyone wants to see it, for Cody Purden from Bayetta. Okay. Sign her, it's ready to go. Okay, gotcha. Got a payroll change here for Jose Martinez from the sheriff's office. I got a promotion. Okay.
You guys want applications as they come in?
Yeah. Thank you.
I have questions for you.
Okay? You didn't say anything about having answers.
Here, we need a public hearing on the bylaws. Change the member count.
Well, I don't think the planning commission changes its own member count.
Well, you guys have the resolution, but the bylaws say 7 members, so it would just be corrected to the resolution.
Okay, yeah, okay. Yeah, well, you don't have to have a public hearing.
Okay, but definitely on.
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Okay.
Is this just for information purposes only?
Also, a couple of things in the server that they had. I think that probably should say the comprehensive plan land use map, instead
Yep.
of the appraiser's
That's
office.
right.
And then there are some numbers that want a baseline reading on wells for contamination, see if it was contaminated over time.
Okay, so it's your well, and then there's water top there, and then
Yeah.
it's, oil, and it's,
And then there were certain members that thought that that might be too costly for whatever company, but another member said it's right at $85.
Well-
I mean, if they want a baseline, they can put that in there.
well, any public water supply already has requiring to have a 100-foot protective easement around it. Really hard for me to believe that there's any way that a solar system can contaminate an actual source water issue. Meaning, you're never gonna have, I think there's probably a case for fertilizer doing that, and maybe it's the case arguably that some of what we're talking about, but I would hesitate to say that without somebody professional saying there's a chance for source water contamination. We have a basis for that. I know we're going to have the cost to test it based on just the field.
County village property.
That,
About half of them are wanting like a baseline reading of, water wells before
Okay.
anything ever happens.
so they just, okay, so they're basically saying, just take a sample and then preserve that. You know, okay, then the question becomes how do we force people on union properties or living wells to test? Right? I mean, the owner obviously would probably find anything on the property or police, but what is that for or oversight will be? Well,
They want that they're not participating.
yeah, I think that's fine. I think that, you know, voluntary, it have to be voluntary. Fine. I don't think you could force the landowner to allow testing. So I would say, yeah, if they said, you know, the company would go there and they agree to test a sample, then that's great.
And then they were confused about at the appropriate time, so. Just take that wording out.
Yeah, that just strikes me as very, it's just, it's, well, it's probably self-evident, the fact that they're gonna, if they have a source water protection plan that they're gonna do, it's an appropriate time to ask them to do that.
I told them that I would ask you all those things.
Yep, no, I'm glad to do it. Be it improved a lot.
That's it. Need it for anything?
That's it?
Yeah.
I don't know, we'll think of something.
Yeah, that was too easy.
She really went to see
Thank
it.
you. I don't know how many of you guys outside. I don't know how many of you, I try to keep up on the misinformation that's posted around out there on the internet, you know. We're being accused right now of hoarding $14 million. Yeah, and I didn't like the tone of one of the answers, so I guess Danny's gonna answer here, not on the internet. I'm really disappointed in people who put out misinformation, who don't take the time to research the information they put out. If they would have gone on there and looked at the cash carryover balance that we have, it's not $14 million. It shows like it is, but Part of that is non-budgeted funds, which are grants, inmate welfare, juvenile intake fund. It's things that we have no control over. We don't have a levy on that. Our tax levy, funds with our tax levy came out to $2,420,000, $2,420,123 on funds with a tax levy. The ones that we don't have any control over was $2,042,471, and funds with no tax levy, which is actually income funds, auto tax fee, 911, things like that, came out to $9,797,853. Now included in that, and these are 22 numbers according to the site that was listed on there. The 22 numbers were actually for 21. And in that was capital improvement, which was $7,871,475. In that capital improvement is for the whole county, all departments. So what that is the clerk's office is going to have to buy new election machines. They need a new server last year. They're a savings account that they try to budget each year to have money in their account to purchase these things so that they don't have to, next year I need $50,000 to purchase something, so my budget's going to have to increase $50,000. You know what that's going to do? That's going to increase your taxes. Now, if that's what people want, they can do that. We got compared to Jefferson County, which I didn't include Jefferson County in the comparison that I did about 6 months ago. Okay? 6 months ago, I did a comparison because in our budget meeting, I got asked why we are so high compared to Allen County and Barber County, counties that really have no comparison to us. So I compared the counties around us: Brown, Nemaha, Action, Pot, and Jackson. I didn't include Jefferson in that. I can go back and do it. But what you folks out there need to understand is it's not the mill levy that kills you. And in comparison to these counties around us, our mill levy is much higher than those for the county. But then by the time you add in the townships for the other counties that I have compared us to, guess what? We're pretty darn close. And there again, like I said, it is not the mill levy that kills you, it is the value of the mills. So of the 5 counties that I listed here, we sit number 3 as far as taxes. Number 3 as far as taxes. In 2023, and I'll send this to anybody that wants it, give it to anybody that wants it. It's all public information. I went out and found it. Our mill levy in 2023 was 72.45. The county mill levy, and I'll just throw one out there, for Atchison County was 51.57. Oh, but then you throw in 12.32 mills for the townships, and that was an average of the townships. I just took the average. And that comes up to be approximately 63.89 mills. They're a lot lower in a mill levy, right? But then by the time that you figure in what an average mill equals, in Jackson County, 1 mill equaled $152,835. You go to Action County then, you know what theirs was? $214,114. That's a heck of a difference. Isn't it? I think it is. So you cannot look at the mill levy and say, my God, my taxes are too high. You have to look at what one mill equals to say that. And, like I said, according to information that's out there that came from the budgets of each county that I looked at, we sit number 3 out of all 5 of these counties. I really don't know how to get across the misinformation that's put out there hurts everybody.
You're not going to do one.
I agree, but it just gets me
You can
that
use
folks can
the,
go out and say whatever they want to on the internet with no consequences, and yet it comes back and makes us look bad, makes everybody look
it
bad.
doesn't make us look bad because we know what the truth is.
And trying to get the truth out there is just not there.
You can use the words, it appears, I believe.
I
I've been
heard.
told. So,
And
you're,
it's just bold. It's absolute bold. You know, I got here one more piece of data from the site that was listed. County property tax change from 22 to 23 in local property taxes. And one of the counties that was cited in there by this gentleman who got on and started spouting this stuff off was a comparison between Jackson and Jefferson. The percent of change for Jackson was 5.4%. Percent of change for Jefferson was 6.5%. Now they have a higher mill levy, so guess what? They're going to be paying more taxes. It just doesn't make sense to me that folks will get out there and stir the pot without ever taking the time to do the research. It upsets me. How can we fix it? We can't. Until people actually start listening and start actually doing some research to see what is going on, ask questions. Like say, Daddy's answered right now. I'm just sick of this. The misinformation is put out there with no recourse, no consequences. So I'll get down off my soapbox now, but it just burns me. So, Scott, good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
Like I walked into something.
Just normal BS. That's it. What you got?
All right, White and Holton have both set up their cleanup dates for May the 3rd. We already committed to White to do the household hazardous waste trailer down there, so we will be there on May the 3rd. Still, people have stuff here at home, they always bring it down to the recycling center. Back in, I believe it was November, we talked about possibly replacing the pickup truck down there, recycling. We've got numbers in now, so is it okay to go ahead and get some bids for the truck?
Yeah, let's get some bids and see what we got.
Okay.
See how we fit in the budget.
All right.
You should send this
I got LTAP classes, Wednesday, Thursday, so I'll be going down to that in Wichita for 2 days. Did you get a chance to look at those two contracts?
Yeah. Well, I looked at, I took from the email that you guys primarily interested in the LRS contract. I didn't look terribly closely at the hands,
Okay.
because of the price difference, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, to me, the reading through the hand contract is getting into be more like waste management. It leaves a lot of open doors for fuel costs, surcharges, things like that.
and I think it's very, very, yeah.
Yeah, and the other one is not, they've got it, they did a flat rate for pickup and then so much per ton. And we averaged out, the past 2 years, we were, 8.38 tons per dumpster, and 23, and 8.58 for, 24. So, and then it was $60 a ton. So it averaged out to be about $851 a dumpster. Whereas, the new contract with, CAM is going to go to 900.
so is that your recommendation to go with?
I think so. Like, it's going to save us some money.
Maybe competition is always good.
Yes. And,
Contract wise, I think if you add those standard terms and conditions that we have, I don't know if you're familiar with that, I think we have a leak creator form along there you go, that just has, things that we have to have in it to comply with federal laws. And attach that, I mean, this is a very standard commercial agreement for them, except with a lot for increase. So I didn't see anything in particular that jumped out at me as an issue. I just, you know, the usual stuff that you would probably avoid, you know, attachment, we have to give them, you know, notice before you terminate it, they did. The only thing I noted too, there was a right to compete, which doesn't seem like it's a bad thing. It's just a thing to know that if somebody tries to come in and cut the renewal point, you gotta give them a chance to match it. That's like, you know, basically they're saying you don't, if you get a better offer, at least show it to us.
Oh, yeah, I can understand that. I mean, there again, it's a competition.
And that's, so, that doesn't seem like a bad thing, it's just one of those things to note, so that we don't get a contract in here and we're just gonna roll it.
When do you want this to start?
We'd have to get with these LRS and see what their time frame is. So that would be good.
What action on that today, so that we can move ahead with it?
So you're recommending we go with LRS or haulage service from the landfill?
They are, 2-year contract.
Okay.
Rather than us 3. They will not automatically renew like the other one. So they will talk to us before we renew us. And they do have a 7% increase, is what they got per year, which brings us about $51.
I'd probably say if you guys want to approve, you can do a motion to approve pending the acceptance of standard terms and conditions that are out by
Do I hear a motion?
So moved. So motion to approve the LRS.
Okay, there's been a motion to approve the LRS contract for haulage to the landfill with standard, with contingent upon approval of standard, what was that term?
Terms and conditions.
Okay, for the county. All in favor, any more discussion? All in favor, say aye. All opposed, same sign, motion carried.
Brown County, we've been back and forth with them about if they're going to do HHW with us this year. They decided not to do that, so we're getting all our paperwork up to date, taking all their information out.
Did we have any equipment over there as far
No.
as for storage or anything?
No.
Okay,
Are they gonna do it themselves then?
That's what they said, but they said they can do it cheaper, and so we've contacted PDH, to let them know that we're not picking up their anymore, so we'll have to take care of it also. We got that A1 contract for alarms out here again, coming up, that we're still paying on. We did find something, and Lord Mary, which she's been just tearing things up. She ran across, the original contract is stating if it's not in our budget, that we can get out of this contract. So to me, for 2026, if we don't figure money in the budget, then we should be able to get us out of this contract.
and I thought we were gonna, because the last time I think was that we didn't give enough notification
No,
timeline, or?
That was, they came in to add something to the server, to there was
Oh, yeah,
the
yeah,
4,
and that automatically,
and Bryson signed it, and that automatically puts it for those 5 years.
yeah.
Yeah.
So then if that's in the original contract says that, I
I would
would
like
still
to
budget it
pass that along to you.
What's the idea here?
for the alarm service.
Skip.
We don't use that alarm service, and we haven't for probably 3 years, but we're still paying for it because it's under contract. We like to get out of it. And so Mary ran across this original contract the other day, and was saying that, if it's not funded in the budget for the year, then you can't get out of it. This is December 31st, so.
That's it.
Right. I think it's still like a headache.
And you probably have something in your files down there, that Lee's put in there about this.
Well, this is well known, I mean, it's cash basis. It's not appropriation. Essentially, that it's not, we put it in the contract now, so everybody's clear about it. It may not have been in this one, but it was in this one. The language is not the same as it really is. This just says, if you guys decide not to appropriate money to it, so it doesn't say anything about, I mean, the non-appropriation doctrine essentially goes back to the question of whether there are funds there to appropriate. You've got arguably funds available because it's not a big amount of money. You just choose not to appropriate. This language says if you choose not to appropriate, you don't have to. So, yeah, I mean, it sounds like I'm going in circles there, but this language is different than what the law says.
So this is a how it works.
Yes, it is now. But if it was just, if it just said referencing the cash basis law, you know, to comply with the cash basis law, you get to do things. That would mean that you guys would have to be basically able to prove that you couldn't have any money. This doesn't say.
This just says if you don't appropriate money, then it's, okay, or don't budget money, then you're good, so,
Yep.
all right. That kind of gives you your answer. I would send them a letter too,
Yeah.
I believe, stating that we are not going to, renew the contract or on the contract after December 31.
Hey, you just write them a letter saying that the county commission has indicated they're not going to appropriate funds next year.
For the original contract,
For the
dated
original
such and such.
contract, and according to that page right there, or whatever it is, it's terminated as the.
Okay.
Okay, we got the chip and seal, information up to the, newspaper, last week, so we're running the newspaper this week.
Chip and seal or roof stabilization, dust control.
Chip and seal.
Chip and seal.
Yes. Okay, bids for that. So that was turned in, and we told them we want the, bids back on March 21st. To be sealed bids, if they're not sealed, we're not gonna accept them. After this was sent out, we talked this morning, Matt, myself, and Brandon, and 254 over there, we're putting a new bridge in. You know, we got it packed in, and then we'll settle a little bit. We would like to come in and chip and seal over that bridge, the bridge we put in there last year, and the tubes we put in last year, so that.
Go down there on the old highway, north, where you put the tubes in, what is it? Yeah, keep going.
Okay.
Where you put the tubes in right there, I'm trying to think what road are between 262 and the S-curves.
Okay, I know what you're talking about, right down by, Charles.
Yeah.
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 Didn't really think of that, we're thinking more, because we just chipped and sealed 254 last year, but again.
Well, I mean, since we're looking at doing that, we might want to fix that patch too, so.
Okay, got with, Ryan Riley, and he's gonna come out and visit with us tomorrow. Getting our, conduits and things put in the ground out there, we're gonna try to get that done, Wednesday, Thursday. Let's get back on.
Does that include the landfill also?
It'll be separate. Landfill. This is for the fuel tank up here.
I didn't know since he was gonna be here if he was, do you have that?
I spoke with him about it, and we're supposed to meet down there sometime.
Okay.
Again, it's just, that's scheduled, it's not scheduled meeting. Dust control now, we talked about, got the price back, you know, on the bid and everything. Last year, for the individuals, we were $1.32 a gallon, and we charged the individuals $1.42 a gallon. Are we gonna do that again this year? Or will it increase in that? Labor cost or anything?
I think you ought to increase it to offset labor costs, yes.
We charged $1.42 last year. Making 10 cents a gallon. And that doesn't cover the cost.
Oh, it doesn't.
But it helped creep a little bit.
Yes. If you figure labor costs in there, it'd be outrageous. You know, you figure talked to Atchison County over there, and they do not do dust control. The individuals want it, they contact the supplier and go through them. And, they do not water the roads, they do not prep the roads, but through the individuals there. And then they're also responsible for putting flags and little placards where their dust control starts and stops. And if the graders happen to go through there and tear it up, then they will repair and fix and respray. But if not, then graders won't touch that area unless it needs potholes fixed. That's how they run their facility.
I would look at increasing it, not outrageously, but trying to reduce some of the cost for labor, so.
Give it a call before you do it this year.
You say, well, like I said, you want to increase it?
Here's a man that buys it. Sure.
Well, I mean, I guess if we're gonna arbitrarily just increase it, I'd like to know, what we're increasing it to.
Well, $1.42 seems kind of an odd figure to me. I mean,
Well,
It just seems like-
Where did you come up at?
yeah, but I mean, 10 cents more than, but it just seems like if you're gonna do it, let's go with an even number, let's go to $1.50.
That's what I'm about to say.
Okay, but again, if we're gonna do that, let's think of what the real costs are.
Sure.
And do that. I mean, the county has been doing this for people for years.
Yeah.
And it's been the service that they've provided, but
Well, so let's get,
Just me as on the taxpayer side, I don't need dust control, in my place. But yet I'm paying taxes for somebody else to have dust control.
well, let's look and see what the actual cost.
you're not.
Well, it's still, anybody that's in the county, and again, this is taxpayer talk. Anybody that's in the county paying taxes, some of that portion is going toward dust control for individuals.
Part of the reason, though, in the conversations we've had over the years, that it's been done by the county, is we control the quality of the way it's done. It's our road. I don't know if we necessarily want somebody else coming in and doing it and not getting the same result.
And I agree with that,
Need
Pete.
a headache.
I agree with that, especially if they're not prepping the road or doing anything like that.
Makes no sense.
No, and I don't really want somebody else coming in, an individual hiring contractors come in and grade the road, you get it prepped.
Again, as a taxpayer, we get this number figured out, is that what we charge?
No, that's not what I'm saying, but I want, I believe what Keith's saying, what I'm saying is, let's get a number so we can compare and say, we're recouping this much. It's basically what it is, no, we're not gonna recoup the whole thing.
Because the other part of this that you have to look at is that it's a benefit to the county because they're not having to blade those
Yeah.
areas. And it's preserving gravel in those areas. It's not going away. So tell me how you figure that out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because you're keeping people off the, keeping the graders off the roads for the whole summer, they're not having to spend time there, they spend time elsewhere, so.
Okay, back in budget work session. Get that number. We had a few calls in on 270 and Q4 up here, about some 190 on that too. So we are gonna get that on our list, we get fixed here immediately. The 214 road, past the,
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
214 past the chip and still there. Blade operator's sick today, so I really can't ask him the question of why he did this, but he went in and pulled mud and crud up out of the ditch last week, and it's in the road, so I'm sure there's some people that are
Who's the operator?
Ethan Vincent. So, like I said,
Works from there north. From that side, east.
Okay, so, like I said, we will have a call from him when we get back.
So has somebody been running
Bob, so should already be down there, almost. I figured you guys may get a few phone calls on that one. Okay, We'll be down on the trees down there on K Road this week. Getting those all cleaned up. We've got some rock going down on 270 west of Soldier over here. Mulching over on V south of 278. Got the area to take out of there in Soldier now where we park the grader. Over Allen's shop, Eric Allen's shop. He's gonna allow us to park there, so we're getting a fuel tank and some rock all over there for that. The motor grader up in that area has a wheel hub that's gone out, so Bryson did parts in that additional around so we can push that grader.
So, in the meantime, if that grader's down, it's the operator.
We have the other grader.
Okay, so he is gonna,
I'm
okay,
gonna go to 13th and go.
great, that's all.
Okay.
Well,
Well,
got a salt sand spreader, we got a little damage to it, I think backed into a stove rest, turn around, so we're fixing that up. Got one of the Dodge pickups down here, getting the depth put on it. Got Becky and John running down on 102, S2T. We're still having internet problems out there, it's slow, and Mary and Jennifer are pulling her out, and we talked to Johnny, and Johnny said, well, all we did is put cables in there, we don't have equipment out there. IP Pathways is just back and forth with them, and like I said, it's just very slow. So I don't know whether we turn the IP Pathways out here, or with Aaron more involved with it, and Jen and Mary Albert.
so the internet's on each of their computers, are they hook in directly?
Not 100% sure.
Or they hit the wireless out there.
Has,
No, I think the water.
Okay.
so has Giant come out?
They talked to Johnny,
But have they
But they come out and looked at it and tested their,
not recently.
I think that's the first thing I would do right there is get them out there and say, you know, look, you need to come out, you need to check this out, see what's going on. If it's on your end, fine, if it's not, then we'll go farther.
Yeah,
The
they,
HO twins.
you just need a determination whether it's on our end or their.
Or the IP Pathways, and everybody, it's not on their,
It's not on.
IP Pathway, yep. Johnny said it's not on theirs, so that's good.
Well, I would request, like I say, I would request John come out, check their stuff, even though they say they have nothing out there, just have cabling. Check it and check the speed, get things going that way. Because then if we can eliminate them, if they can prove to us that they're delivering out there what they say they're supposed to be, then we can go, the IC pathways.
Yeah, 'cause we've been messing with this for months now.
You got to Google speed test.
I've never done that. And
I'm sure Mary does.
You can just Google speed test, internet speed test, click on it, see what your actual speed you're running. And then verify that through what you're supposed to be.
You know, you do it there and then get John out there and have them do it. So you have that in your back pocket, what you're seeing.
Other than that, we've got some limbs down on the end road south of the parallel up here, so we're getting that cleaned up. I got some minimum maintenance signs that have been blown down, knocked down, clean that up, and a couple spots on College Road that we need to look at, this starts to fall down in the flat area. On the side of the 254. I think that's all.
I just had a couple, I had a call from Justin Jager, he told me to call you, get hold of you. Okay. I'll give you his number, what happened, this will text it to you, that way you guys can connect, but he was concerned about C Road, north of 254 by Soldier. just wanted to talk to you and try to get something, straightened out with that. And then, he also said there's a big hole in the bridge by Dr. Howard's. I think that's on C Road, I think.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, he's on.
Okay. And he said it's getting worse. And then, I talked to a gentleman yesterday at Walmart, and he was saying that Y and 310 need some rock, and the ditches need work.
It was up there last year.
He said the water's not good, he said it's really needs some rock right in there.
Okay.
I told him I'd tell you, he said, might not, it's not gonna be, tomorrow, but, get up there and look at it and see what we do.
Okay.
So, that was it.
This is Catherine Allen Deer Run, said she called the office last week about grading the road out there.
So then,
Catherine. So she's back in my son's area.
okay. The guy been up there on the little tractor facility.
I don't know if he has or not. Oh, yeah, yeah.
Anything else?
I just have one more thing here, we got this, Samsara contract,
Yeah.
and we had some questions on it last week. Is this a $15,000 payment every year?
From what I understand, yes.
I didn't think that was what it was supposed to be, I thought it was supposed to be an initial payment, and,
Well, there was, the first year, there was, on the original contract, there was some shipping involved in getting it here and set up, and then after that, it was gonna be less.
So it is leasing all the equipment, not.
Yes. And he said after the contract, though, this is pretty much your own anyway, he says they don't want it back, it's 3 years old.
okay, so it'd be 15,000 a year for 3 years?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Now, that includes the forms portion of it also.
Okay.
This one, GPS alone, is going to be less.
And how much, I mean, anything on that?
The first contract that we had, there was about a $4,000 difference. From the GPS to the capital.
My suggestion, we get a contract on just the GPS and video, and then if they get the forms portion of it later in the year, we can add that in.
I think that would be the smart thing to do, because like I said, if we're not gonna get it, we're not gonna pay for it, so.
This been sitting around because I've seen,
I think that you've seen that, Tara.
well, the general terms have been sent, but they said they were grading a separate document, right? For us?
Yes, they did.
Okay, so
And I
this
don't
is
know if
just the
that's
price
it.
sheet.
Yeah, that's what came in a week ago, I think.
I had an email from that guy. So I didn't know if this was just the same terms as what they gave you on the website.
So we'll hold off on approving that right now until Todd's had a chance to look at it and contact them and find out what the amount will be for the GPS itself. And then we will, when the forms get straightened out, then we will, take action on that.
And that includes the video, correct?
GPS and video.
GPS and video, yes. Yeah, in fact, the forward-facing cameras.
When you're
No,
doing that,
no
with that,
in-cam cameras, forward-facing.
Yeah.
his guy had to send it to me. So,
All right.
no, he had my email yesterday, I think. Those are my answers.
So can I ask a question on the recycling truck that you were gonna get bids on? So what's it gonna replace?
The old, Ford F-250 right down there.
How old is it?
2011, something like that.
So that's kind of budgeted for?
Huh?
Has it been budgeted for?
Yeah. It's out of our capital outlay.
Okay.
We've been talking about, replacing, well, I did a 5-year plan a couple of years ago, and all that's changed, but
Okay.
we're recycling down here, well, for all the departments, we had a skid steer in there, we had a pickup truck, and a new forklift.
So then we started saving for those,
Okay.
and then now
I think we're at
stop
100,
replacing.
right, we're at 101,000 in our outlay.
Okay.
And then 113 for landfill. About the same thing for landfill.
think landfill's pretty much set up there now, nobody got electric.
The backhoe will have to be done something with probably a couple of years.
Yeah,
So it's hard to get Ed right now.
he likes it. Getting parts for it anymore, because it's kind of tough, but.
So speaking of landfill, I thought it looked, 100% better. The work that he's done, cleaned up, straightened up. I know he's got a little ways to go, but, it looks really good.
Darby and I went down there a few weeks ago and I talked to him.
Yeah, it looks really good. So, Darlene, thank you. Ed said, thank you. It looks really good. And I know he's got a little bit more to go, and he kind of walked me through his plan, like on the bicycles and stuff, and it made sense.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. So,
I told him, all that stuff that's in that building down there, I said, it doesn't pertain to keeping the landfill up today. We went through there, we had a ladder that was still in there from like 3 years ago, where the lady wrote us up on that, because we knew it was bent. And a fence grinder that was still in there, so like, it's got it doesn't keep the landfill going. It's,
C Road between 110 and 118, you have opportunity to reach out to the landowners and talk about, doing
Oh, the one down here?
closure.
I have not had a chance.
Okay. 2 miles of road on 94th and Menogan, in Menogan Township.
I've not had a chance to talk to them.
And then there's a large blowout on Chicken Seal just south of 126th and S. Do the operators report stuff like that up the chain of command?
They should, if they see it.
This one's hard to miss. I've gotten several emails about it. It's gonna have to probably, be one of those dig out.
But you said 126.
Right there by the
South
fire,
of us.
south of 126. And then operators, are they out looking at these areas, bottom hills where water tends to stand?
They're supposed to be on our work.
And so how do we verify that? How are we verifying that they're out doing that, they're calling for gravel, they're looking at these tubes that are plugged, that we talked about last week? How is management verifying that that's what they're getting accomplished?
The only way you do it is if you pull off and just go run around and check up on it.
Conversation with them, and
That's the only way you could,
yeah, and that's what I'm trying to understand is, I know you've had that conversation with them, they know that's what they're supposed to be doing, and is there some spot verification that that's getting done?
Not at this point.
Okay.
If we want to run out and check where everybody's at, we can.
Can you have just conversations with them and, I mean, without having to physically go meet with each one on the phone, say, is this what you've been doing? And where is it that we've done it, so that I can verify those types of things? Because I think it's important that we continue to stress, if you see something, fix it. Don't pass by it, just like, plug tubes.
There's a caveat to that too, if they're on their way to somewhere else that they've been told to go, then note it down.
For sure.
And
Yeah.
come back to it later, yeah.
Absolutely, but make
Yeah.
notes of that so that you can fix it. So that the public sees those things, as taking care of issues and get.
Something Wade used to do is on Thursdays, he would call all the operators, and have a conversation with them.
Maybe that's part of the.
Probably need to go back to that, I know Linda didn't do it when she was there.
Yeah, that's probably a good thing to do, is start that back up.
So, that's all I'm asking, is we just keep encouraging them to really empower themselves and to take care of these problems, and fix the problems. If they're not getting fixed, then something's got to change.
And that's probably something that every couple months that you need to emphasize in your meetings that, you know, the three of us are not wanting you to rush through something. If you see it, as Keith said, fix it. You know, don't think that you don't have the power to fix your own roads. I mean, that's the whole key right there.
Okay.
I think every couple months, just emphasizing that would be a great thing.
Okay.
That's all I've got.
Did, you guys have heard Scott's Crossing passed away Saturday?
I just heard that this morning.
Been here?
Did you have cancer?
Yes, it was, but he had some kidney and bladder. I guess he had kidney removed here. Bladder was shot. Yeah.
All right, thanks.
Thanks, sir.
Two applications for,
I think we need to set up time to get them in here. You want to try and do it next Monday?
Seventeen.
17th? Try and get them in here 17th. Probably not do it in the afternoon, I guess. Try to get in there in the morning, see if we can get them in here. I don't know, I'm not sure when.
June.
Yeah, whatever works.
We'll try and get them in the morning, but if they say they can't make it, then we'll have to make arrangements in the afternoon, so, go ahead and give them a call and set up times for them anywhere from, 10:45 to noon. That way, get everybody a chance to get in here and out. Todd, you wanna go on early?
Sure. Let's talk about, covered, I think, contract stuff. Talked about responding to open records and going to the Attorney General. I did, traditionally, you're supposed to, like you may have said, on the phone call, you're supposed to do your research before you write them, make sure. And that has revealed something that actually is an interesting part of the law, as I related to you, the statute says person. There's a separate statute that defines person as a body, corporate, and politic, which is a legal term of art.
A legal term
Of art, meaning it sounds, that means it sounds weird, it doesn't make any sense, so it has to, the law has to interpret it, right? So it's just, a body, corporate, and politic generally is, you know, person, human being, corporation. So the state law says, you know, state law says you can be a corporation. That is a body, corporate, and politic would be municipality. That the state has the power based on its sovereignty to be a, just like county, commission, or city. So that has an actual legal meaning in all this. So I did a lot of research on that a while back, and I did some more. I have to dig that up, but I also looked federally, and there is some case law that indicates that any tribes are not subject to certain rules that would indicate that they are by corporate policy for federal law purposes. So I've got to close that loop before I go to the letter, because I have to be able to say what the research shows. And that's, so Kansas law says, in addition to what we talked about, it has an additional term I have to explore with the bottom.
So,
Which basically means that the the tribe may not be a body corporate politic under Kansas law.
Right.
Right. And I'm trying to figure how, I'm trying to wrap my head around how that's possible, how it could be possible, if they can pick and choose which Kansas laws, which Kansas statutes they want to follow, and others that they don't, they say, no, we don't acknowledge that. We don't acknowledge the KDAG, we don't acknowledge this, but we want you to follow Kansas law and give us this. I don't understand how, it could, it's either gotta be one way or another. It can't be both.
Yeah, and I think that the question here is the consistency that kind of goes beyond that. I mean, that's the question of what does the position of a sovereign mean? I mean, is the tribe like it would probably maybe prefer to be as a co-equal sovereign, you know what I mean? It means it's on the level of the state or a different government. That would be the kind of end result of that. And if it is such in state law, statements about, who is covered essentially have to be, you couldn't be a separate sovereign and be a body corporate politic, because it intends that it would be a creation of the state itself. I mean, the state of Kansas created its laws about corporations. And you can be a corporation out of the state of Kansas, come into Kansas, and do business, but you have to register. That's a foreign corporation. Cities, townships, counties are not entities absent the state saying, right? The state created a system whereby they exist. Maybe they have powers that are over and above and sets some other portion for the state, but that's all in there. So if the state failed some way, but operating didn't exist, this would all back. That's not the case with tribes. So that's going to take some work.
Yeah, so you still got some more research to do.
Yeah, but I've got I had to do the basics of that for another matter, so I think I've got, I just have to merge that concept with what I'm seeing as federal civil rights jurisdiction as, any tribe suing other municipalities, like somebody would sue the city for violation of their First Amendment rights, does the tribe have the same right to sue the city? And I think the answer is no. So, and that has some bearing on the issue.
Okay.
So that's why that is a little bit more meaty than I thought.
Okay.
And the only other thing I think to note would be just, the general status updates and things outside of lawsuits. I think you guys are familiar with there's many cases that are happening in Douglas County against the city on First Amendment issues that have been raised. One of those was disposed of in summary judgment. The claim that the plaintiff had been dismissed based upon the summary judgment motion because of an analysis of the forum application. Remember, we talked about that. This is not an open forum. This is a closed forum. The federal court took that up and determined the city of Lawrence's city council meetings and commission commissions is a closed forum too. So the claims were dismissed. And we could probably assume that several other of those lawsuits would be dismissed in the future.
Okay.
So yeah, there was another one filed against the city of Merion. So, but the same type of claims. So
All right.
hopefully we'll start to see those things along the way.
All right. Sounds good.
Any other questions about these rather significant weighty matters?
I can't think of any that I have. You guys have anything? Okay.
You need me to hang around now, or no problem?
I'll let you take a look at this right now, that's, agreement for McElroy, the pass coming in for later on. If you see nothing wrong with it, then
That's Pat Ritter here.
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah, he's here at 10:15.
This is the building here.
I believe so. And, we could probably try and get him in here earlier, if you wanna take a look at that and answer, if you have any questions for him.
Well, he's gonna be here, seems like it's 15 minutes.
Yeah.
I'll just read this.
Okay, perfect.
Paragraph on here.
So she, I know she was bringing up the money. But he said he had it in here. Right. Yeah. Then you have a bunch of, you know, other stuff that he needs to do.
All right, perfect.
Are you trying to get some? Allergies, yeah, it's about that time.
Yeah, I haven't started taking the survey. I haven't started yet. When do we normally hold, start holding budget requests? Conservation District, send an email, let me know when they're,
April 1 is usually when the ethics come in.
then I'll ask you back, tell them to make some, set up time somewhere,
Yeah,
first part of April.
if you have, typically we like to have all those in, long problems by April 1.
By April 1, so maybe he needs to come in next week and present.
Yeah, he's got some explanation, if it's an increase or something, you know, those are.
How often do they hold their meetings, do you know? I mean, that might be a little.
I have no-
That might be a little
They
quick
can,
for him.
they can probably call it quick one. Everybody's around here, so. I mean, just sometime before the end of the month, they can get it done.
Minutes,
What's that?
you have any minutes?
No, did not have any minutes.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So you want to offer this week?
What's that?
You want to offer this week?
Yes. I thought it was last week. That was this week.
I asked Vicki how
So
your,
yes, I am.
how your day was.
Yes, I am. I'm not careful.
Had you already gotten it?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I looked at the dates wrong.
I got it.
Surprise, surprise, ain't first time I screwed up, ain't gonna be the last.
Would have been a nice day for,
It was a great day. And if I remember the weather right,
oh, it's supposed to be 70 over.
you know,
Oh, so you're just gonna get
I
on.
might just get on the bike and ride. That would seem to be the thing to do. What is? Yeah, today's supposed to be 75. If it's 70,
It's just 70.
oh, it's supposed to be 76 on Thursday. There you go. I think I know what I'm doing.
Are you doing any of your kids on spring break? Sure. Gotcha. If it's last week, next week. Oh, St. Patrick's Day, right? So why did they have to go today? You're a teacher. They'll be out.
I saw on the news that the next meeting is when the training and the Renaissance Center.
Oh, yes, that's right, yes.
So they're there, and that was all it.
Be pretty nice. Probably was a little more.
And it's not somewhere in the county, it's like the
That's true.
city.
Mark's not gonna be there.
Yeah. You should.
Tell scissors last night. He was out there, he was gonna cut the dog's hair. Thankfully, his older brother came tattling on him, and it's like, oh no. And they were like the, you know, the little shears, which work outside in the garden. Into the garden shed, and got the little shears. I'm gonna cut Bruno's hair. So, I know.
So are we gonna try to have, look, I want you guys input on this, try again to have a meeting with all department heads prior to the budget meeting? I'm,
I think, I'm not interested in it. Nobody showed up.
I know,
That we met over there.
okay,
I'm not gonna waste it
okay. I almost think it'd be a good idea to try it one more time, personally. I would, I don't know, because when it comes to the budget hearing itself, there's really not gonna be a chance to try to explain what we're doing, especially with the format that we have to use now. Well, as far as, I'm not interested in back and forth debate at that meeting. If we want to try to explain something, I think the place to do it would be at the pre-hearing, because just from things that are going on right now as far as the equal time and this and that and the other thing, I don't want to get into any kind of debate at that meeting. So I think that the best thing to do to answer questions would be to have the pre-meeting to try to explain to people then, because that's where we're, because it's already pretty much set then.
No, that's, if you need anybody to show up to, you're not gonna explain anything to anybody. I mean, the meeting, the hearing is where the public wants to ask a question, answer to our best ability, we give them 2 minutes, 3 minutes, whatever, to ask a question, and then we'll ask it and go from there.
And we would have the department heads down there then.
At that evening hearing,
Who we have the hearing, budget hearing.
you want the department heads in that? No, I
I don't think, because everything's already been decided pretty much by that time. I mean, the budget's pretty much set, there we could do some tweaking on it, but I don't necessarily know that it's gonna be
But that one was because we went over the R&R, is that what you're talking about? That hearing?
well, you have the R&R hearing, and then you have the budget hearing after that, for the night meeting, yes. I'm just trying to think, if we are going to do that, we're going to have to set some dates and get them published and get them out there, so be thinking on that. This doesn't have to be decided today. I just want to get that out there and get it thinking about it. So,
I mean, when we had that meeting over there that time, we didn't have budget set yet, did we?
No. That was the whole idea, is to invite the public to come in and sit down in front of every department head, including elected officials, ask questions about their budget.
Right.
We had a proposed budget ready at that time, and they could ask questions, and there could be some back and forth
well, that's,
in those opportunities, but nobody showed up.
Right. Right. I was trying to think if we actually had our budget set at that time or not. I didn't think we did.
I think
it was
we had
just, it was a tentative budget.
Tentative budget,
Yeah.
okay.
Yes. That, what's going on?
This Jayco sign.
This one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jacob.
And that Lyman put up last fall. City came over and said that we.
I'm still in, where is it?
Right down here in the corner.
Wow.
Says Jayco Life.
Oh,
It was a tourism thing.
Oh, okay, thank you.
I just found that out. But the city came over and said it needs to be set in concrete and very concrete. They went and hooked up to us, and there's a power line over by that tree, but I don't think that should be our cost.
No. I'm not in favor of that.
I have talked to April about it, because she was at the city meeting, and I think she'd be willing to take it back. A lot of people are bitching because they only see the backside.
Well, it's pointed out toward the street, I mean, you can't have it both ways, but it's pointed toward the courthouse, and you can't see it from the street, so.
I wondered who put it out there.
We did it for the
Christmas time.
Jefferson County Sheriff.
So just take it down, seems like the simplest solution.
Yeah,
Right, that's what I think. I don't think we should have to.
I'm not willing to stand the cost to set it up, you know, if it's a temporary deal where they're having, you know, glory days or something like that, I can see it setting up for that, but,
Where it's at, I talked to April about it and the chamber. Our department are during glory days. If it's taking up that much. You know, I can tell her to take it down and.
yeah.
You put it back up, as long as it's a temporary, everybody thought on the city that was a Christmas thing, just honest.
See, that's what I thought, because it went up back Christmas when
Right.
everything else went up.
That's what I thought too, but I just found out on the last week where there was a group of people down there taking pictures and they said it was from the service.
Right. Yeah, I think the best thing, if they wanna use it as a temporary thing, you know, put it up then, but it's gonna have to come down, so it can be a permanent fixture.
Because, I mean, it's a lot of work, it has to be buried 18 inches in conduit, and who knows what's underneath that sidewalk.
Yeah,
It's just like, that's a big tree.
yep,
Yeah.
yep.
I will go tell April that she needs it.
Okay. And what about the McElroy's contract thing? What's that about?
Just a renewal form, every
Okay.
year they raise prices for the one they do.
And that's filters and belts and all that good stuff, do they take care of all that, or do you?
We do the filters,
Okay,
and I don't know why that is. But they just come in and check everything, and make sure everything's working. They blow the unit out outside twice a year. They bleed everything down the basement. They're up here maybe 4 days a year.
okay. So once quarters are coming up and doing their annual inspection, their inspections of the quarter,
They should be coming up to do the summer thing. And make sure everything's switched over. And the fall and do
okay? All right.
Well, a couple of things to note on the contract, you understand they don't allow other entities to prepare or work on this.
Right.
So that's just a warning. That says here that nobody else can work on this. There isn't an indemnification clause for the county, so I think what we asked at this time is if I could give them the standard terms and conditions to add to that, we'll be better off. It's a minor problem that you want to feel better with, so. What's your email?
It's, Custodial, JACODS.
It's not Katie Richter.
Huh?
It's not Katie Richter.
Nope.
Okay, well, I'll send that.
Okay. But yeah, I don't know how much it went up from last year, but I know in that email, they said, total price increase.
Yeah. Surprise, surprise, everything.
And I just got a call and they're supposed to call me instead of an appointment, but it seems like I have to call them all the time.
I think it make it aware that, hey guys, you're supposed to be calling me, so, you know, I forget, you've got a better system than I do. Kind of make that known to them.
Oh, sure, there's another way we could do it, because they're called actuators, and
they're $50, $60 a piece, and I'm gonna go through like 6 or 7 a year. And there's a different one for the heat and the cold. And when people shut their units off, it hurts them. But of course, it's really bad about shutting the heat off, and the kickstart units.
Yeah.
No, I will go talk to April and,
All right.
probably go tomorrow morning. See where she's at today. Is that her mom that works over there, is that her mom?
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Every time I go over there, April's not there, she's doing something.
All right. Yep.
All right.
That'll work.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, buddy. So, would you like us to approve this contract contingent upon acceptance of the cash basis or the terms and conditions?
Yep, same thing.
So I will entertain a motion to enter to accept the McElroy contract contingent upon their acceptance of the terms and conditions for Jackson County.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve McElroy's contract. Any further discussion?
Legal situation.
Yeah.
Hearing none, all in favor say aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
I'd like to ask for executive session for 10 minutes for a legal matter out of the lake.
Attorney-client privilege. Keith, go through your script.
Okay. I move we go into executive session for certified privilege, possible litigation for a length of 10 minutes. To the court, our attorney.
All right, it's been properly moved. Do I hear a second? Properly moved and seconded, go into executive session for attorney-client privileges, possible litigation, including Commissioners Kirk and our attorney. All in favor, say aye.
Beginning of 10:20.
Beginning at 10:20, 10:25.
3.
All right. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Whatever.
Well, I think did I email it to you? Pretty sure I did. If it's not, I know I emailed the terms and conditions to you, but I don't know if it was a word or if it was. But just, if you don't have it, just send me an email, just remind me to, that way we can, since surprisingly enough, this has happened twice.
Yeah.
Well, I don't foresee it happening in the future because of how we're handling things now. Moving forward with, not allowing permanent long-term.
Yeah.
But it doesn't hurt. Thank you.
See
You bet, we'll see you later.
Yep.
Yes,
you guys.
Anybody have anything to talk?
Well,
I think we're good. All right. Let's just kind of open the desk with timelines for everything. Fun stuff coming up. We're out of the executive session, no action was taken. Thank you. All right, Todd, we'll see you later. Thank you very much.
Let's have a good afternoon. Enjoy the day.
Those need to be signed.
What's that?
Those for information
I
only.
think there is.
Okay, so that was the thing to sign. Yeah.
Okay.
See anything
Yeah,
in
the change
the
orders are here.
You see anything in the board on payroll?
Yep, the dollar amount was right in the right range.
Carry this to the printer room.
I need a copy here later.
Okay, so it is. I didn't
I
know.
think so.
Okay. Mark, did you have a meeting down south?
No, it's this week.
Just,
Yeah, I have not drive manager.
gotcha.
That was one of those,
Oops.
well, I looked at everything, the first day was March March the fourth. And it went Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, well, I see March fourth. Yeah. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday that week, right? No, that's not right. Enjoyed the drive, saw a lot of beautiful countryside.
Good. At least you know the way.
Like I say, that ain't the first time I screwed up, and ain't gonna be the last, so. What are you gonna do? How are you doing?
Great. I was commissioners this morning.
Loving every minute of it. Still getting better, just,
I'm not in the middle of anything.
nope, nope.
Okay. So, everything going okay with the contract?
Seems to be for us. How about you?
Well, I like to hear.
Everything good with you on it?
All right, doing pretty well.
All right. Good.
We'll see. Looks like it's gonna be a busy year.
Oh, yeah. It's busier all the time, right?
Yeah.
There you go.
Have a
There
good
you
day.
go. All right, thank you. So when do we know for sure what our assessed valuation is for this year?
What she has to certify to Christie, the first of, Tara's the first of June.
They've all been sent out, so.
Yeah.
Right, but she has to certify, because they have to do hearings.
Real and personal property tax rolls must be certified and turned in to the county clerk on June 15th.
June 15th, okay.
Okay, so then now,
So then you can start from there.
the county clerk certifies district revenue neutral rate then also, so, okay. So then we can start taking that, talking about budget. Because we'll have to know what we'll have to work with, go from there. So, I'm glad we got started with it. Yeah.
So do you send the, once you get appropriations, do you send them letters ahead of time?
I think we normally just come in and
We
talk.
don't send letters out to, for appropriations, they just.
And so is the ambulance contract go up for
It's
conversation this year?
it's up this year, I believe, the,
Ambulance contract up for conversation this year?
It is.
yeah,
So you're gonna wait till the last minute for
oh, no,
that to come in?
Yeah. We're gonna need to have a conversation.
I think we're gonna get a legal opinion on what can actually be disclosed and what can't.
They're not, the last time we did this, they were not, willing to show
And I understand that,
the entire amount.
yeah.
So was there any more talk about the ambulance down south? No, no,
They didn't say anything.
didn't say anything?
Now, of course, that wasn't
Right,
the right meeting to have that. He said he was gonna bring it up there.
I got you. I got you. Maybe I can kind of make a difference to me.
And I can text Jeremy and ask him if they're gonna have that conversation at the meeting. at the next meeting. I was just looking, somebody sent me a text this morning reconsider evaluation, total rates, evaluation was from $246 to $256. When he said, three bedroom, it's a nice home, nice shop, all that kind of stuff. So it's on 10 acres. He said, it looks like the county's gonna have to, should just buy my house for $225,000. I'll give you $225,000 for it.
Yeah, but will most people sell their property for what the assessed valuation is? And I'll bet you the answer 9 times out of 10 is gonna be no.
Because in the assessed, not the assessed value, the appraised value.
Appraised value, yeah.
And the assessed went up a little over $1,000, which it should tell on there what that, they didn't show what that means for increases property value.
I mean, I wouldn't sell my place for the appraised value.
I don't
There's no way. So, and I know that we're gonna get the, you're gonna start hearing that, my taxes went up, my taxes went up, my taxes went up. My taxes went up by $10,000. So your taxes did not go up by $10,000.
Yeah, so, just doing a little research on that. Go back to the meeting, I'm fine, if you want to have. I'm trying to, I don't know that there's any value to having all the department heads and elected officials there. If,
I mean, like that day it was done,
I'm gonna have to take this off.
there was,
Yeah.
there was a lot of money spent because it was advertised, and it was advertised, and it was advertised cheap.
No, I know.
And, you know,
And they came out of the commissioner's budget.
I know,
You
it did,
You
and
paid for that,
and I'm
and
just
food and
saying,
everything else, so.
there was a lot of money went into it, and then nobody showed up.
Yep.
Except the one girl. It was like,
And that was, she wasn't even there for that. So,
right, so, I don't know. At that point, I think no.
I'm willing to try it one more year and see if we can get anything out of it. That's where I'm at.
In what month did we do that?
You were gonna ask me that. Wow. Seems like that was in July, wasn't it?
I don't know, I can't remember.
I want to say that was July. Let me look here and see. So, I have it on the calendar. So that started at 3 o'clock and went till 7 to give everybody a chance
Right.
to come in.
If we can convince the department heads to come back and do it again.
Well, we fed them, so, you know,
Yeah.
I don't see that I've got that down, I can't find it.
What's that?
I was curious what.
The date that we
yeah,
had it.
When we did it, I think.
June?
Well, I thought it was June too, but I don't have it.
Let me go back and look. I think that's-
You think it was that early?
Yeah, it was, because the idea was, it's early enough that we can have a conversation. So if 500 people came in and said, you know, we don't want gravel put on roads anymore. Okay, you know, just be facetious. But we could cut the gravel budget. It gave us enough time to
Did you
reduce the budget or something along those lines.
That was the thought process. And I was just telling Linda, I would be willing to try it one more year and see if we get anything. If we don't get anything, if we do it, we don't get anything this time, then I'm out.
Okay, so we met on June 18th.
June 18th.
That was Tuesday?
Yes, I know it was a Tuesday.
Three till
3 to 7. Oh, I've got that down here, but I've got it down at 9 AM, so that was not. Okay. I do have that down, but I didn't have the date down for time. So like I said, just keep that back in your mind. Discuss it here.
I mean, has Christie sent, did she send information out yet? For what it's up?
To the departments,
Which Friday?
and she has,
And did she give them a date to get it back, or she just gave it to them to?
Mark, I'm gonna run up CK for a minute. Sure. I'm gonna talk to her about this guy, that's get some
Yeah.
additional information.
Yep, no problem.
I don't
Okay.
know if it's everybody or if it's just people that have requested, it. Some people have it, and they didn't know, ask some questions, but I don't really know.
Because you weren't all had a chance to have figures in there. That's right, because we had the school, you had the school districts there too.
Yeah.
And,
Well, the only one that showed up was Roval.
yeah.
I know Mr. Dees had a procedure that day, so he couldn't come. We never heard anything back from Jackson Heights, so. And I would recommend we do the same thing again. Ask them to come, show up. I mean, they've got their budget too that we get blamed for, so. It's kind of like, you know, we're just the faucet. Everything comes into us and outflows, but we get blamed for everything, so that's okay. I'm glad I got my break on there yesterday. I thought they were about 50, 60 mile an hour winds again. I was saying 30 mile an hour gusts.
I think they got home by the street.
Fire department did.
Yeah.
Yeah. you have, you know, sitting out there watching it. It's a burger and garden and everything too, and, then I went, got lawn chairs and refreshment, so I ended up watching the brush pile burn, and there was a couple times, man, the wind came up, and I thought,
Yeah.
maybe ever go get the hose, about that time, you know, it's, they get away about 5 minutes,
Right.
and all that, you know.
Be prepared.
Yeah.
Guess we should ask you if she's had any phone calls. Well, I don't know.
Last week. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And that was basically.
And that was drives everything up, yep. That's why when, you know, the folks here in the square came in, I could understand their concern. But when you have properties here in the square selling for much more than what they should be.
So if you're, you stay,
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. There is no easy answer. If there was an easy answer for everything, then we'd all be smart, right? I don't know, all we can do is do the best we can do when it comes to this.
And then there is some sort of guidance to, things adjacent to.
Right.
Well, that's why I saw a friend of mine post on Facebook, he lives on the other side of the county line in Shawnee County. And when he lived in his property, Brady's house last, his house was finished. His house is finished now with several outbuildings, several bedrooms, several this, several that. And he was complaining that his valuation of the house.
They've been trying to get a solar farm out
Yeah,
there.
he moved in. He built the buildings.
Just
He did this, he did that.
It's like, good, right now, there's even worse.
Well, they had the houses listed down below.
Southwest Jackson County.
Where they listed the comparable properties. I don't think we did.
No.
Shawnee County lists the comparable properties in his area that they're comparing to.
Well, they do.
Oh, yes.
No, we don't.
Yeah.
I mean, if you have a hearing, they have to show you how the properties, but it's not on paper.
That was in there. So, you know, that.
He did. Yeah, Chad, my son said he's only 50,000.
For his valuation.
Yeah, but he's right off 46th Street. He's in a housing area that properties, it sells.
Yep.
He put himself there.
Like I say, if you're willing to sell your house or your property for the appraised value, hey, I'm not getting buyer.
I know.
It's not
But then she did say farmland went down, right?
Yeah, it's farmland went down, but it's still selling. I don't understand how it went down.
Right.
Maybe you pulled it down. I don't see it on there. Yeah, he must have pulled it down, because I don't see it on the slide anymore, so. Page.
experience in legal. What do you think?
Yeah.
That was pretty impressive.
What is the cutoff for the state would cut off on their applications?
It's set until Bill, until the position to Bill. That's what they have there anyway.
Hey Brooke, how are you?
Great, you guys?
We're early, but you want to head up?
Sure.
We'll get you in.
All right. I'm just coming over to share the comprehensive grant for our block grant and our prevention. So first two of five.
I am going to apply for what's called a regional collaboration grant, so it'll include Atchison and Brown County, well, Atchison and then the 22nd district. So I'll see if I get awarded that, but, so that would be the 5th grant that I haven't previously applied for. So, I'm gonna give this to you guys, sorry, I don't have a copy. And here's the packet, this is, on the top, I just broke out the way it prints in our workbook. It doesn't really print really well to look at the actual budget. But this is the overall budget for FY '26 that would start in July. And then behind that is the actual comprehensive part of the grant, data collection for all of our programs. So this is, when I say block grant, that is juvenile intake, that's prevention, which is the second slice of the pie, I guess is the way of saying it. So block is intake, probation, community case management, and immediate intervention. Then there's the prevention piece. Turn that over. And then this just breaks out all of the funds per program. So where it says case, that's prevention. And we just can't spend more than what we've been allocated, which was like $23,000
On prevention.
on prevention. Yeah, I mean, it's part of the group holds, like some districts get prevention funds, but they don't actually use it for prevention, whereas we do. At one point, we had $42,000 that was allocated, and so, and this is a program that is being looked at as possibly being cut by the state, and I think a lot of it has to do with that back when, so like I actually started the prevention program. I mean, that was, so in 1999, started the program, and all the directors that had applied for those funds and got them, we've carried them on since, whereas as directors change and new faces, and they're like, well, how do I get these funds? Well, it's not available anymore. So I think that's part of the other programs and grants that are available, it's kind of shifting. So I have ideas if those funds get taken, what I would do with it, and how to continue with our preventative program, but by way through the family engagement program that we have, which is our JCAB and reinvestment grant, which I'll come over another time.
Move some funds around to make that still have that.
Right, because the prevention program in itself is huge. It's a huge support to schools, law enforcement, and parents, and so, and kids, kids that maybe just are misunderstood. And so, anyways, that's what that is. So this top part is the actual funds, and it'll total the $541,000 whatever dollar. This I did not put money for court services. We do have to spend about up to $500 if they choose to. Typically, I just buy UAs for them that they've used in family court and whatnot. Has to be for youth-related cases. But some of the officers have started doing incentives with some of their juvenile probationers that are on low risk, which with them, and I just purchased stuff for them as incentives. But there's no money actually sat here, but I just shift as needed. And then this is the overall piece. If you decide you want to look through it. But the first part's pretty boring. This here, though, I tacked this in because I was really upset. When I started to get into our immediate intervention program, this is a program that is designed for all first-time misdemeanor youth or second-time. Some felony cases, which all of our even new county attorneys, we have one new in Pot and one new here, have also decided to continue with the immediate intervention program in some of the felony cases. So to avoid, so if they can make it through, they avoid prosecution and having a charge. They're showing us as 34 kiddos, and that is so wrong. And so I worked with IT through the state where they did this data poll, which was August 10th of 2024, and we actually had 99 kids, which I had record of 97. The other two, technically, they need to fix their tickets because one was a Shawnee County and one was Lincoln. So I'm right. But anyways, my grant does not reflect this. It reflects what, and this is just the correspondence between, and all the kiddos is whatever. And back here, it just talks about, it actually references are 97.
97.
So much like that, whatever.
No, no, there is, it's important to have, yeah.
Yeah, I'm big on, well, so here's the deal, and you may have learned this through adult corrections or have the buzz of the formula funding. So they're actually trying to determine how to run formulas to determine the amount each district would receive for the services they provide. And so,
If
They're
they're showing
starting
you
with
at 34,
adults.
then,
correct, so right now they're focused on adult because they know they're underfunded in some of the districts and that they need more personnel to oversee the amount of cases they actually have. To safely and
Right.
for community safety as well. And so the next piece will be juvenile, and that's why I really hammered that, like, before I would, submit my grant, is to show the correct amount and get IT to start figuring out why their stuff is not pulling
Say,
correctly.
why is it wrong?
yeah.
Yeah, it's really concerning. Ours may not, like the juvenile part of things may not even take effect until our fiscal year 27. But in the meantime, I want to make sure we're working out the kinks because it will directly impact us. Immediate intervention is not something we've received any additional funds for ever. But with the new funding formula, it could. And we, as a smaller district, have luck. And you can see that compared to even like Schneidman.
Yeah.
And things like that. So we take on a lot of cases, and so anyways, yes, it's kind of a big deal.
Understand.
This is just the signature parts of it, and is Chris next? She's home.
Need it.
She'll.
You need certified by,
Chair and Christie, or clerk.
Notary?
No, thank you.
Oh, no.
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 I don't. You think so?
Just the clerk.
But if I have to wait for Christie then. Okay. No, let me just. Yes. Yes.
Just this one?
So like probation related to.
So, I'm curious, and on these grants, are there any federal funds involved in this, or do the federal funds go to the state and then they funnel through the state?
That's my understanding. I mean, so all of our funding comes through KDOC.
Okay.
And so they oversee the funding portion of it from the state level. And then they disperse it out. It's been a question, as long as I've been director, I think at least every 3 years it comes up, how are they determining the funds per district? And they'll say, there's this formula. And if you look at statute, it says that the formula in itself is not, there is no actual formula. And so I actually was appointed to what's called the CAC team, which oversees it's for the prevention piece for the Northeast region. So I represent the Northeast region, and I work on that team, which is with DOC and other directors to present to the Secretary of Corrections. And that's kind of where some of this has also come from, it's just there's a need for, and especially in the adult corrections piece, we know there's a lot of districts that are way underfunded and some that maybe, I wouldn't say overfunded, but they do get matched grant from their local counties. And so,
Well, I was curious in the current awful situation with cuts and everything, if we did have funding coming out of the federal to the state, have you heard anything on that? Okay.
no,
I didn't know if they were piece that was playing here.
I'm not concerned about it. I mean, it's the only concern I would ever have is if they try to put all supervision, whether it be juvenile or adult, under one umbrella,
Okay.
which has been discussed, and it keeps it comes again up every about 3 years on whether you need OJA, parole, and corrections, if you need all three entities. And if you don't, then how would that look, and how would it be funded, and so at the end of
some of your funds are federal funds that are distributed by the state, is that correct? Or are they all state funds?
All state funds,
So it doesn't.
So there is no federal funds from the feds to the state to you.
not through
Okay,
this program.
that's kind of what I was asking, is I want to make sure that we're, thinking in case things get cut, so.
But even if,
No.
even if there were federal funds, this is wasteful spending.
Right, no. It's kind of interesting that you say that.
Hopefully not, yeah.
That's one thing I
It's
would
not.
say, we're a very conservative
it's-
district when it comes to the juvenile program. If you notice, we typically return funds. I mean,
Yeah.
It'd
So-
be different if those funds were going to Africa for something,
yeah, right.
but they're coming here. to this county.
Correct. They're all within the community. Yes, and that's the other thing, is one of the things we do not do at the juvenile level is we do not collect supervision fees of any kind, or even UA fees. We have no reimbursement. Whereas,
Just
and
one
that's
signature line.
that's an actual house bill that's being looked at right now. And where a lot of districts do charge for IIP, ISP, UAs, all kinds of things, and we do not. You guys can,
Oh, you want this?
it's yours for record or whatever you want. And so, again, we won't be touched with that, so it's not, it would not affect us.
Right.
I
Okay.
just don't see the point in why we have to do not pay for that when we know who's actually paying. So.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks,
Did you get it? Okay. I'll be back on next year.
All right, sounds good.
It's good seeing you in
Yep.
your chair.
Thank you.
All right, enjoy your
Thanks,
day.
Brett. Appreciate it.
Yep.
You think it's interesting that there was a significant cut to federal government.
So that, not just this one, but all of them.
40-some million
Yeah,
to use this one. That's a huge number.
that is. It is.
But anyway,
Yeah.
that was interesting. Their line.
Talk on it.
So we're gonna go ahead and send out invitations to the individuals who have applied to come in
Yep.
on the 17th. Call them. Yeah. Okay. That would be great.
Yeah, we just signed 15 schools on Monday.
Yes.
It's kind of hard to keep track. Makes sense.
Hey, y'all look intense.
Always.
Intense?
What's that?
I thought I looked more content.
Yeah. So I put a little flair in my vest.
I see that.
I'm stepping up.
I'm almost jealous, not quite.
You can't match the coffee. You got your special shirt for that.
I know.
Got to go train my taxes. I hate taxes.
That's
Just-
the always.
And just as a reminder, property tax is theft. I'm just throwing that out
Well, it'll come before you then, maybe.
there. Yeah, I know. I have to enforce the laws.
Understood.
no interest. No interest whatsoever.
I attended one of the years. They did the public meeting for anybody.
Well, that's what this is, it's like a coffee shop, there's not, I just was curious, there's an ad in the paper.
Yeah, we've done to the public. I want to listen to them to the public, not.
Well, that's all right.
Not representing.
Right, that's all right. I didn't think you ever did that.
Yeah, I went to one down there, there was a fair amount of people.
I think it's advertised from 5:30 to 6:30 or something. It's maybe a coffee shop.
Oh,
I saw the ad in the paper.
yeah.
Yeah, I won't lose out on your meeting question, Brian. All the BS like I discussed earlier today.
I just want to go listen, just to listen. Heard you wrote about her in that accident. When? That's what we had on the first. Yeah, I think it's for everybody. Cool. From what I know is like, first accident, the truck to hit, and then she was in a vehicle that was stopped and got out.
That's kind of what I
It
was.
was on the seat, and then this guy came and he hit the same ice patch. So, yeah. It was freak things.
still doesn't us legal to pick and choose which departments you want to pay attention, which statutes you want to use, and which ones you want to ignore. That just doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, me either, I think keys can lie, even the attorney general determines whether they are in nation, and I think let's see if they are,
Yeah.
and if we're not required to. I would still force the issue by sending a letter stating we want to work with
Yeah.
tree or active use, so therefore we don't recognize you as an independent nation, or we recognize you as an independent nation, but not, required to,
Submit your request. So,
everything group, otherwise,
yeah, like I say, from the research that I've done, I don't see that we're gonna have to, but I would still want the opinion from the attorney general.
yeah, be nice to have that.
It just doesn't make any sense. we have any further business to come before us today?
Yeah. Chip, did you hear?
Before you close, can I have a minute?
Sure.
I sent an email to Kate Friday afternoon, or after 11:10, but I got the wrong email address. I sent it to kate.mshu instead of kmshu. She usually looked pretty good about replying. She didn't reply, so I went and saw her earlier this morning when your session was out. And I just wanted to address a point that, by the way, I did apply for the vacancy, but she didn't get it to bring you a copy. I'll send her a corrected email address. But I wanted to remind the county that KSA 12-744, paragraph A, states, "The majority of the members of the County Planning Commission shall reside outside the corporate limits of any incorporated city in the county." You're probably aware of that, I'm just setting ground. So I looked at the constituency of the current commission. And Pruitt, Phillips, and Kennedy are all outside the city limits. Lake, Weimer, and Abernathy are in the city limits. So it's 3-3 with 3 vacancies. Now, I remember a few months ago, there was some entertaining meetings, for lack of a better word, where 2 guys from Lawrence came over here and caused a lot of grief. You know what the purpose was? I just knew the gentleman through attending these meetings like you. But they were told that they could not speak in front of this commission because they were not tax-paying citizens of Jackson County. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. That was our rules.
Good. I'm glad. So, if a non-tax-paying citizen cannot speak because they have no interest in the development or whatever Jackson County is doing because they're not a tax-paying citizen, then how is it that we can have a planning member sitting on a board when he's not a tax-paying citizen? I'm just curious. Because Chris Abernathy does not own any property or pay taxes in Jackson County. He rents a property on 510 Vermont from Todd and Jacqueline Kyle. And really shouldn't be allowed to have a seat on the board because he's not a tax-paying citizen. I was just curious.
Is he a citizen of Jackson County?
Is he a tax-paying
Is
citizen?
he a citizen? I'm not gonna get into a big debate. I'm asking you a simple question.
Well, I guess he rents property, but
Is he a citizen of
I
Jackson
would assume
County?
so. I would assume so.
Well, I would not assume so. If he's living in the county,
Right,
he's a
right.
resident of Jackson County.
Right.
So for the planning board, enough said.
Okay, all right.
My opinion.
Yeah. I never looked up the requirements for membership or being a taxpayer, or just a plain citizen. I'm not arguing the point, but I just thought it was kind of a ground rule. If the person couldn't speak in this meeting because they're not a taxpaying citizen, then after that's any person set
Well,
up
I'll-
subservient
Sure.
board.
And I'm just gonna say my personal opinion right now, okay?
Mm-hmm.
I don't need to hear the kind of stuff that was coming from the 2 gentlemen that you're referring to, okay?
Okay, I am.
Okay, I mean, I'm just putting that out there, plain, pure, and simple. I
Sure.
don't need to hear that. If all they're gonna come in here
I'm
and
sure.
do is curse at us and tell us how stupid we are,
Mhm.
I don't need to hear it. I already know how stupid I am. I don't need to hear it from them.
Yeah.
If they're not gonna be a productive member of society, I don't wanna hear it.
Okay, well, I just, I assume everybody else agrees the same. Okay, that's fine. Well, I just wanted to bring it in, to your attention for consideration. But I think anybody involved in developing Jackson County should have a stakeholder's interest in being a property owner or a tax-paying citizen of the county. That's my personal opinion. Because when you make an investment and buy property, you have a commitment and your own resources, you know, so it gives you a stronger voice than somebody who's renting, and 2 months from now, they could be in Missouri. You know, they don't have that same long-term interest for people like us. They're taxpaying citizens.
Mr. Chair, I would advise if you have Kate come down with the bylaws, let's just settle this. If the bylaws
No.
don't indicate, then.
That's fine.
then
If
I
you give Kate a call,
would
maybe.
move ahead, because I don't want to continue a conversation that is,
You can say,
Taking
hey,
trouble.
if you don't decide this, I'm fine with it. I just
Get it all
want
straightened out
to.
right now. I mean, what you just said is kind of ludicrous, because if somebody moves out of county, you don't care if they're rent, bought, whatever, then they wouldn't be eligible to be a member of the planning commission anyway.
Make sure she brings her copy of the bylaws.
So, let's take the other side of it. What if they own property in Jackson County but live in Loveland, Colorado? Could they be sitting on the board?
Again,
They're paying taxes.
again, Mr. Chair, until we
Let's get
have
this
the
settled.
bylaws.
I mean, my opinion, that's my opinion is no.
Yeah.
Let's get this settled,
I'm not
let's
sure
get the
they're-
bylaws down, we'll get it handled, we'll get it settled.
I'm not sure they're addressed in the bylaws, but I haven't looked into the county statutes either.
And we can get, yeah, we can get the planning commission to
Sure.
adjust their bylaws.
Okay.
Thank you.
She's on the phone, but Jamie will tell her. Here's the rules as far as conduct at commissioners' meetings. You were kind of referencing it's in that area right there.
Believe I haven't read it. I don't know.
It has a few different types of laws.
Mhm.
Those are comfy.
Chief. In your bylaws, is there anything that states about residency in the county? Well, there you go. Well, Linda just found something here that I think will answer that question that you brought up, especially since you brought up KSA 12-744. The following people being a resident of Jackson County, because it says in accordance with that statute, the following people being a resident of Jackson County. So I'm going to guess in that statute that it says you have to be a resident of the county that you are appointed to the planning commission. But it would be kind of an oxymoron to appoint somebody from Shawnee County to be a planning commission member in Jackson County, or
I
somebody
agree.
from Loveland, Colorado to be a member of the planning commission in Jackson County. So does that answer your question?
Yeah, I'm just concerned that they'd be a taxpaying citizen. It doesn't.
Are you
say
gonna
that.
get into semantics?
No, I'm just
And
saying.
it doesn't say that right here. The rules of the rules of this commission
Mhm.
say that. Not the planning commission, which is what you were questioning. Correct?
Say that again?
The commission rules, I'm not sure what the planning commission rules are, because there's a separate set of rules for those.
Right,
This commission has established rules
right.
that if you want to sit there and speak to us, that you be a tax-paying member of Jackson County,
Yeah, okay, I agree with that.
okay?
Your rules
Unless you have official business with the county. Those two did not have official business with the county, other than come up here and curse the three of us out,
I understand.
okay?
Mhm. That's in front of this commission, which is a higher authority than the planning board. And you use the words tax-paying citizen. Chris Abernathy is not a tax-paying citizen, and he's on a subservient board to your authority.
It's not required, that you understand that. It's not a requirement that you be a taxpayer owning property or tax. It is only a requirement.
That you just be a citizen.
The resident.
Yes,
Yeah.
you're a resident of Jackson
Okay.
County.
And we're talking
That's
about
all
two
I'm
different,
saying.
Steve, we're talking about two different things. You're applying it to him being on the board. The rules that we're using to apply to speak before the board.
Yes,
Two
yes.
different things.
Okay.
You understand that, correct?
Oh, yeah, I understand, right. But I'm just questioning, like I just stated, if you're the authority for Jackson County, and you have to be a tax-paying citizen to be recognized by this body, then why wouldn't a subservient board have that same requirement?
Because we're following
to your
Kansas
authority?
statute, we're following Kansas statute,
Okay,
okay?
all right.
That Kansas statute has nothing to do with this body, as far as who can speak before.
Well, I think there are some rules.
I didn't say some rules, I said the statute that
And
you referred to, that is referred to right there,
Agreed.
okay? Yeah, so we're in agreement with that, right?
Right.
Okay.
All right, well, I wasn't questioning your rules of resolution. It just seemed if you held that standard at this level of authority, that any subservient board below you would have that same standard.
Well, then you're incorrect.
Okay. Yes, word didn't pass.
Yep.
All right.
Thank
Thank
you,
you,
Steve,
Steve.
appreciate it.
You bet.
Thank you for finding that, Linda. I do appreciate that.
Some of the statute itself.
Well, it's the sheet that we signed with the board members, it states the statute, and that's what it reads.
Was that in the bylaw?
See this?
Oh, okay.
It's right there. That's the statute.
744A B,
12-744.
oh, the whole statute. Okay, right, not- All right.
Okay. In answer to your question, Tara, would you read that to him, please?
It says, persons who wish to be placed on the agenda of any meeting for comment must be current qualified electors of Jackson County, Kansas, as a residence or domicile in the county so as to establish their eligibility. In addition, owners of real property in the county subject to property taxation may be placed on the agenda. Production of proof of voting registration in the county, a property tax receipt, notice, or acknowledgement of status by the county clerk shall be sufficient to allow for placement on the agenda.
And that's to speak before this body. I
Yep.
understand it. But would he have to provide a notice
It
of
says
the tax,
domicile,
of
it does not,
receipt of taxation?
it does not say domicile, it says domicile in the county. It does not say tax domicile in the county.
No, but read that part again, about showing the ID and the receipt.
You can prove by using voter registration, which you would not have to be a property owner.
Right.
That just proves you reside here.
What was the word for?
It's like two separate things.
Okay.
You live here and be a qualified elector, or you can be a property owner, or you can have business.
So then put that to bed right there. All right,
agree.
perfect.
Thanks.
Yep, thank you.
Right.
Perfect. All right.
You have the statute. And I was just trying to find.
Sure.
Anything else from me?
Can't think of anything. That was a quick, I told you we'd get you back down here.
Well, you didn't even need me.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, is there any further business before this commission today? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded to adjourn this meeting. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passed.